Hi there, welcome to this video. So in this video, I'll be showing us how to hide a column or show a column in Tableau just by a click of a button. So let's just get started. You can see on my screen is a dashboard and it has three tiles: the customer name, order ID, and segments. So when I click on customer name, it hides the customer name column, you can see. And if I click it again, it comes back. And the same thing with order ID and segments. So how do we get this done in Tableau? Again, just notice that the headers are still there, but we're going to be working that out. So dynamically hide the header. For now, it's just going to add the contents of the columns. So let's just go straight in. So I'll create a sheet that has my table name. I'm using the sample super store data. So once you create that chart, before you create it, you're going to create this three calculated field, and I'm going to explain the concept behind it. So before you create your cross tab or whatever chart you'll be using, you need to create the parameters that will be holding those fields that you're going to be putting in the bin. In my case, the customer name, or the ID, and segment name. And again, note that they are categorical data. So I'm going to create parameter, and this is what is inside the parameter of each of them. So it's going to be a Boolean parameter, and I chose false as the default value. You can choose true based on how you want your logic to work, but for now it's on false because I've used it. So I will create that parameter, which is Boolean. It has a default value automatically. Create the other one for segments. So for every of the column you want to hide, you need to create a parameter for it. So this is what, and it's going to be a Boolean set. So after creating the parameter, all I need to do is to create a calculated field or three calculated field for each of them. And again, I call this column filter. You can call it whatever. So for customer name, I created this calculated field, and I say if customer parameter, then give me the customer name, else just give me this quotes. Again, it's a string type, so it's just going to give me the customer name. So I'm referring the parameter I've created. And also for segments, the same thing you would do. And for any column you're creating, so you create this calculated field to reference the parameter and return the segment. Now, one more thing to create is to come in and just let me show you what is the edits, and we will see this. Okay, the same thing for column. So after you've created the calculated field and the three parameter, come to create each of the sheets, and in each of the sheets just put in the string that holds it. So in this case, I'm putting the string that holds order ID. So this is just for labeling purposes. You can directly type it in if it works for you, but string one is this. So you just holding the labels of each of the buttons. So these sheets are the buttons you see at the top of the dashboard, these three. So once you create those sheets, I've created for order ID, I've created for segments, and I've also created for customer name, which I'll be on hide for now. You can see the customer name is also created. And there we have the three buttons, and I'm putting the strings inside of them. And you will notice there's also a parameter inside this, and which I will be explaining. That those are the three sets of calculated fields I will be creating. So if you notice as well, you can see the order ID param is a calculated field. Just ignore the naming. They go into the color and into, let me drag this into details as well. Hold down your command key and drag. So yeah, now a recap. We've created strings three calculated fields just for labeling purposes into this sheet that will serve as our button. We've created three parameters and we've created three calculated fields. So the last set of calculated fields we'll be creating will be the one that we also be going into the three sheets, which you see in the details. And what does that hold? You're going to create for each of the columns. Again, you can see that the usefulness of a calculated field and parameter. So I call them order ID param. You see, it's just a negation of the parameter we've created. So not order ID parameter. Again, for column, for segment, I created that same calculated field to negate the parameter. So it negates the logic. And the reason why we created this is because we want to alternate between show and hide. And so that's three sets of parameters. All calculated fields are the ones I put in details and in color. So when it negates, when it's hidden, it is the color changes, and so 6 parameter or 9 calculated fields, 3 for strings, 3 for columns in the main sheets, which I'll put, see, you can see them in the rows. Okay. And this is what's inside these 3 sets of them. And another 3 for these ones to negate the parameters. So let's just dive right into the field or into the dashboard. Now in the dashboard, these are calculated fields. Okay. In the dashboard, I've put in this sheets accordingly. You can make them smaller. It depends on you. And again, to emphasize, in this sheets, you will need to make it a square. And in the color, you will see that it's true. When it says false, you can choose another color to edit, but you can choose whatever color you want to edit. So it's going to be 2 values, true or false. So square is the max that I'm using. So yeah, cool. Let's just make this look like a button. Yeah. And you can decide to hide this. There is no need for this one. There is no need for the title. And there is no need for this. Cool. So they are all sitting there like 3. And the last action we're going to be doing is to create a dashboard action on this dashboard. So go to dashboard at the top, come to actions, and create a parameter action. So to create a parameter action, you have to say change parameter, okay, which I've created for each of the 3 columns. So for segments, I created it, and this dashboard action is going to be working for these 3 sheets. Now we're going to be giving it whatever name you want. As you can remember, you select the sheets, these 3 sheets, which are, in this case, I've just selected segments, and I'm referencing the calculated the parameter that I created, which is a Boolean parameter, and I'm referencing that calculated field I said not param. That's what I'm targeting. So the logic behind is that this parameter updates based on the value of this calculated field. So for example, if the default parameter value is true, I expect the calculated field to be false, right? So when that is clicked, it returns false to the value, okay? And you can actually implement that. You may not need all those experiences. You can just set the value to true, but again, you need a calculated field to work with. So false goes into the target field, and make sure you keep the current value as is and run the action as select. So for each of the click, a negate or opposite Boolean value updates the parameter, and it goes on and on. It runs that way, and click OK. Do likewise for order ID. You can see the sheets here, calculator sheets or field, and the same setting and customer name, and we are done. So those are the things. So I've been able to review what that parameter value is at the moment Just for emphasis, you don't need to put this on your dashboard, just for you to see how the toggling takes place. Now, I will click on this. You can see that the value has changed, and the value has changed here. The current value will be true because it's true. Our sheet is having a different color, and which you will see it's here. That is false, okay? Our value has changed to false. And we have this. So you can see how everything plays out. Sorry about that dashboard. That's a different one. So our current parameter value is true because it has been updated by our calculated field, and now our calculated field has the opposite of this, which is false. So when I click that, you can see that it has toggled this. And why is this hidden? It is hidden because I use a calculated field referencing this value. All right, so if it's true, return this. If it's false, return. So everything is negating one another, and that's how it plays out. So the same thing when I do for other ID is hidden. When I do for segments, it's hidden, and we just have the measure values. All right. Again, so when we click this, it comes back. Click this, it comes back. And let's just say a refresher on what this column filter is again, as in our main sheets. Let's use segment for example. So if this, then so if the parameter is true, if it's not, so this is also like a toggle.